Hello and welcome to this video on the WaveTrend Oscillator, which is a superior day trading indicator which will help you increase your profits and decrease your losses. So I want to introduce you to this indicator, teach you a little bit about how to use it, and then show you a quick strategy on how to go ahead and use this in live trading. So without further ado, let's get into it. So WaveTrend Indicator, it's used for exit and entry validation. So if you're going to open or close a position, this indicator can help you understand if you're at the top or the bottom of a trend. And it's going to increase your probability of catching these tops and bottoms. It works well in multiple time frames, though if you're on a larger time frame, it's more accurate. So it takes 2,000 tick time frames work well, and then hour time frames or 30-minute time frames work well as well. And it won't give you good buy or sell signals in a choppy market, which actually is beneficial to traders because you won't get burned. So it's an accurate overbought, oversold indicator that you want to be using in your trading setup. And it's not a system, it's an indicator. So you can't simply use this and buy and sell and expect to make consistent profit. So with the wave trend, there are two action alerts that you want to be looking for. The first one is overbought and oversold. If your plot exceeds 60 or if your plot exceeds under -60, it's either overbought or oversold. And if you're familiar with an RSI indicator, that means you want to buy or sell because there's more demand and more supply, and it's at the point in which the trend might reverse. Depending on the market, however, you might need to look for deviations from the mean instead of waiting for overbought or oversold levels, simply because there's not that much price action. And then the second alert is a crossover, and there are two plots similar to a MACD, and when the first plot crosses over the second plot, you either have a buy or a sell signal. And typically, depending on the indicator that you're using, and I'll link to the indicator that I use in this example for NinjaTrader 8, you'll have a point or an arrow get plotted over that crossover, which will show you, hey, here's a crossover, you might want to be ready to buy or sell. And we'll discuss this further in the example section. So basically, first big alert, overbought, oversold. If it's overbought, the plot exceeds 60. If it's oversold, the plot exceeds -60. Now here's a visual example of it being overbought or oversold. So above 60, overbought. Below -60, oversold. So you'll see in the overbought, most of the time, it will collapse down past the 0, which is that gray line in the middle, down to -60. That's a perfect trend, by the way. And then your second action alert, your crossover. So here's your first line, here's your second line, and I'll discuss how these lines are generated in the next section. But here's your first line, here's your second line. You have your sell crossover, you have your buy crossover. Pretty simple stuff. Pair that with the overbought and oversold, you get buy and sell action alerts. So if you're overbought and the plot exceeds 60 and you have a sell crossover, hey, it might be time to sell. If you're oversold and the plot exceeds -60 and you have your buy crossover, hey, it's time to buy. And I need to stress once again, this is an indicator and not a system, so you need to pair this with support and resistance and other indicators to get consistent profit. So now let's understand how this is actually made. The first set of objects covers two inputs, 10 and 21, which are used later as the input lengths for the EMAs. Making the numbers lower results in more signals, and increasing them provides less signals. These are the levels which will define the extremes of the indicator. It works similar to an RSI indicator where a level above 60 is considered overbought and a level below 60 is oversold or -60. Unlike the RSI, at least on the daily or 12, it's rare that the readings would stay above or below these extremes for any extended period of time. This sets AP equal to the average of the high, low, and close. Open is not included because it's an extraneous value. It's contained in the close of the previous candle. In relation to the price, AP will match really closely. This sets ESA as equal to the exponential moving average of the average taken above of prices. In this case, the EMA is based on the previous 10 candles. and it will also trend really closely to the price because it's a 10 EMA. This sets D as equal to the EMA of the absolute value of the average minus the EMA of the average, with a length of the past 21 candles, and that's where your N1 and N2 values come from. This number is always going to be positive and will serve its purpose in the next part. It will be a fraction of the price. This is the equation that sets up the rest of the indicator. It takes the average of the HLC and subtracts the EMA of the past 10, which is N1, bars. The result is divided by 1.5% of D. The top number can either be positive or negative, however, D will always be positive, which allows the indicator to trend back and forth between the two overbought and oversold levels. This number also limits how far the TCI, which is listed below, can range within the levels. The max of which it should range is around 90. This is a 21 period EMA of the previous function formula, and it's also a smoothing function. This sets WaveTrend 1, which is a plot for line 1, as equal to the TCI, and WaveTrend 2 as equal to the 4 period simple moving average of WaveTrend 2. These two objects are used to plot the indicator onto the previously introduced overbought and oversold levels. So now let's go through a trade example using the WaveTrend indicator. So here's an example trade from 2/21/2020 trading the ESE mini S&P 500 contract. This is at 11:40ish a.m. and we'll make around 11 points in profit. And this is a simulated trade. It's not using any system. It's only designed to show you what a reversal and what the WaveTrend indicator might be able to show you in the trading system. So we're looking for a crossover, a sell crossover, because we're already in overbought territory. Right now we're around 75, which is well over 60, well over overbought. So we're waiting for your crossover. Once we get the crossover and once we get confirmation if this was real trading from other indicators, from candlesticks, support and resistance, we'll look to enter a short position. So we enter the short position and then we'll just basically ride the WaveTrend indicator down, waiting for crossover and anything like that. The end result of this trade is around 11 points in profit. So first, before I break down this trade, this is an indicator, not a system. As I've said multiple times, use it as an indicator, not a system. Pair it with other indicators. And this trade is a best case scenario. It's simulated. So here's the trade. As you can see, this is a sell crossover. This is overbought territory. This is a sell signal. So you get in as soon as other indicators tell you that, look, this is reversing. And then you'll ride it all the way down until you get another crossover or something else telling you to get out and make profit. So I hope this video introduced you well to the WaveTrend indicator, taught you how it's actually made, taught you what it can be used for. Try pairing this in a simulated trading account with some other indicators and see if you could get a good strategy out of it. I know a lot of people use this indicator. I personally use this indicator when trading futures. So let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I've also linked to several other things in the comment section below, in the description box below, so take a look at that as well.